here. Today is the day we're going to sand the Mosin Nagant. It's Monday. I let it dry for 48 hours, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see in the light, but you can see where the lacquer has worn off from the cutaway, as explained in my other video. It does eat the lacquer some, but that's okay, because like I said, we're going to sand it down and get it to a nice workable surface, so when the time comes time to Duracoating, it'll be easy, just spray and be finished. So I'm going to take the camera outside and set up. Alright, what's up YouTube? On the hook. Back. Alright, basically this is what you're going to need and what we're going to be sanding today to get ready for paint. First things first, of course, like I said, we have the stock here that we the other day washed and used crud cutter to get off any oil, cosmoline, and then some of the lacquer was taken off, which is okay. And we also have the barrel right here, and we sanded that with 400 grit sandpaper, and then we also have the cleaning rod that I also sanded with the 400 grit sandpaper off camera, and then we have our bag of goodies, which is all the miscellaneous pieces that I sanded, and then we also have the top of the stock here. Basically what we're using to sand today, with just the wood stock and the top of the wood stock, we have 80 grit sandpaper that I'll start off with. Yeah, a lot of you guys might be saying like that's a really low, grade. You don't want to take off a lot of material because you don't want the stock to look weird. But what we're doing here is just going to be doing really light sanding with just this 80 grit, and then once we get to a nice spot where all of it's the same color as this lighter wood here, we'll stop with that, so not to take too much material off. Following that, we're going to use 220 grit, which will make the stock a lot smoother. And then to finish it off, we'll be using 400 grit. I don't know if you guys can see that. I also brought these metal pieces out here because I do want to touch them up again with the 400 grit one more time, and possibly the 220, just to make sure that I have everything exactly as I want it. Because I mean, you can probably see here, and I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of in the bag, but if you can see in the coloring, there is some still black there, and I just kind of want to get a little more silver, a little more stainless, just make me feel better. And then also I brought the dovetails out here. I am putting a scope on this rifle. It will have a scout scope, and I'm going to use these dovetails, which do have these holes here, which are great because it'll still allow me to use the original iron sight once these are locked in. So that's really nice. For anything, say go hunting, it'd be nice if something's too close to really zoom in with it, or really to focus in with the scope. You can still use the iron sights with these dovetails. And I got these off eBay. I'm sorry, Amazon, and all I did was just type in 3/8 dovetails, and these came up. So, anyways, I'm going to turn the camera off now, get it set up, and we'll start sanding. Alright guys, so we're back. Basically, again, I do want to send out props to Iraq veteran. He is, again, the one that had all these tips and showed how to do this on a Mauser, and from that I'm doing this video to show how to do the same process but on a Mosin Nagant. And again, this is a 1943, I believe. Yes, 1943 Mosin Nagant, all original matching numbers, which is a good thing. You don't want a gun has replacement parts, as it could have had issues at some time. But again, I just want to say thanks to Iraq veteran for the original video, and then thanks to Nothing Fancy for his custom Mosin Nagant, which is why I decided to go out again to buy a second Nagant to customize. So basically, the way this is going to go is you're going to want to fold your sandpaper. Once you fold it, you're going to look for the actual grain of the wood, and you want to go with the grain. So with this gun, you can see here, I don't know if you can see on camera, if you can focus, but the grain is actually going this way, somewhat of a downward motion. So what I want to do is I want to take the rifle, once the rifle is like so, just make sure we're in camera, you're going to want to take the sandpaper and just very lightly go with the grain, just lightly sand it up. And you don't want to go rough with it. You just want to kind of lightly do it, and you can already see that it's starting to come off the lacquer and what's left here, and that's good because that's what you want. You don't want anything major. And again, we're not going for perfect here. It doesn't have to all be the same exact really light wood shade through the whole rifle immediately, because again, I'm going to go over this again with 220 as well as 400 grit sandpaper. So we're just trying to get it to almost the same color here, all the same, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same tone. It's almost a lighter tone, because that's what we're looking for. We don't want to take up too much material to wear the gun down, you know, to where it may not feel right or function right later down the road when the rifle's fired. So anyways, again, all you do is just, you know, follow the grain and go with it. And then in these crevices here, all you want to do is fold your sandpaper, and you can actually just get in there with the fold and sand. And as you can see, you know, it's taking out some material, and that's okay. Another trick is you can just take your thumb on the edge and go in there with your thumb. And that'll do the same thing. And then also these metal rings that are on the rifle, I don't know if you can see those. You guys do want to get those sanded down a little so they'll accept the Duracoat when it comes time to paint it. So you know, just again, get your thumb on the edge of the sandpaper and just kind of mark it up. So it's not going to be perfect, just enough where it'll take the paint when it's time. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to sign off now. I'm going to sand this whole side, and then I'll go into sanding the inside and the opposite side. So I'll be back. Alright guys, so I'm back. I already sanded this side down. As you can see, there's a change in color. You can also see how the rings have gone from a bronzy gold to now a silver. Also sanded in the little hole there, and you can see it's kind of, some of it's kind of changing color. And again, it's going to be very rough after you sand it with a low grade sandpaper, whether you have 100 or 80. Generally, they say 100 is probably a better choice just because it's not going to take as much material off. I prefer, or I chose the 80 grit because you know, I just wanted to make sure that I could get a lot off. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that I would have no problem getting certain parts of the lacquer off and just have a smooth, you know, or not smooth, but a quick, you know, a quick sand. Also, the other thing I want to touch on is the back, the butt plate. You will need to remove the butt plate for when you clean the gun. When it comes to sanding the gun, you don't want to actually sand this at all, because you don't want the butt plate to fit wrong once you put this back on. So you want to omit doing anything with the butt plate, because once you paint the gun, the butt plate will go back on, all this will be covered, so you don't have to worry about that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to touch on the bottom of the gun. Again, you want to look for the grain. So again, the grain is going this way. So you want to take the rifle and take your 80 grit sandpaper, or 100, whatever you choose, and you just want to go up and down the gun again. And as you can see, it just takes a couple swipes and it already changes to where, you know, it's a better workable surface for that higher grit sandpaper when it comes time. Which, like I said, the next grit I'll be using is a 220. And that's just to get it real smooth, real quick on the 220 grit. And then I'll go back to the 400 grit, which will get it even more smooth and allow it to be a lot easier for the paint to adhere up and down. Now, for the crevice here, what you want to do is you want to fold the paper, or your sandpaper, and fold it again. And by doing that, you're actually getting a thick sandpaper. Once you get that, you just want to shove that in there. You don't want to force it in. I mean, if it's not going, you know, you probably have it wound up too much, and you probably want to unwind one fold. You just want it to fit easily. Once it's in there, again, just go up and down. And again, the reason we're doing this in this small section here, because you may be saying, well, you don't have to worry about paint in there because that's where the cleaning rod goes. Well, the thing is that, you know, when you spray, you want to make sure the paint gets everywhere. You want to make sure the paint gets in here, because the Duracoat, once it's on the gun, it's gonna actually cure and then harden. And that's what gives Duracoat that ability to be roughed up and used such in a harsh way, because it's more than just paint. It's actually like a protectant to the actual firearm. It gives it actually some tensile strength. So again, you just want to sand in here, you know, just lightly, not too much. You don't want to take any material off. You just want, well, you're going to take material off, but you don't want to take a lot of material off. So you just want to get in there, make sure you get those nice scrapes. Also, sanding also removes anything we didn't get when we cleaned it, and I did touch on that on my last video when we actually cleaned the rifle. So again, just go over the gun, just look for spots, that you may have missed, and we're just getting into a better workable surface for the next level of sandpaper. And then when you get to these metal parts here, guys, basically what you're going to do is just take the sandpaper, and you can use both your fingers, or both your thumbs, I'm sorry. Oh, almost lost it there. And you just kind of go up and down. Being these links here don't have any grain, it doesn't really matter how you sand them. You just want to just sand them. So when it comes time to paint, they'll accept the paint as well, because you are going to be painting the whole gun. So it will need all of it will need to be sanded up. So it looks like we got that all nice and got some nice scratch marks in that, which is good because that's what we want for the paint through here. So now we're going to go to this last side here. I'm going to do this last side, and then I'll show you guys the inside. So I'm going to sign off and do this. And again, this will be the same as I did the opposite side. You go with the grain and just go up and down until you get it to a lighter color, which will be easier for the next sandpaper to sand. So I'm going to sign off, do this side, and then I'll get back and we'll touch up about how to clean up the inside here. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back, and I've done both sides, you can see. All sanded up. And everything all the way up. I mean, you can already tell here that these pieces here, they look very rough. We'll a lot of smooth it out and make it look a lot better. Again, when I got back, I was going to explain the inside of the actual firearm, where the actual internals will go from the metal, from the barrel, the box mag, and then the trigger assembly. Basically, what you want to do with that is you're going to take your 80 grit sandpaper again, fold it up, tear it. There we go. And you want to have a really small piece, nothing big, just small. And we don't want to take any material out of here because we don't want any wobble of the gun. We want the gun to actually be solid and actually in here the way it should be, like it was originally. So all you're going to do is just take the sandpaper and just lightly kind of go in there. Because you can't really see inside of it, you really have no way of knowing which way the grain goes. But that's okay, because when the paint goes in here, it doesn't matter. No one's going to see it, so it doesn't really have to go with the grain or without the grain. Just as long as it'll accept the paint and not absorb it. So again, you just kind of lightly go in there. Don't be too rough with it. You don't want to really take off any material. You just kind of lightly go in there, just kind of scratch it up a little. And again, the reason why we do this is because this is how the paint will adhere from the rough surface. So just kind of go in there with your fingers, and you can just kind of see, like, take your two fingers and kind of go up and down like a washboard. And then once you get to that point, just go in there lightly. Again, I'm not getting everywhere. I just want to make sure that all the edging takes it. So just kind of watch the edging. And then the same on the bottom here, which I had actually already done. I did the whole piece here. And then in the inside here, what you're going to do is you're just going to take the thin piece of 80 grit sandpaper, put it down, and like a slide, just slide it down. Now you can see it's already taken up material, but that's okay, because as long as we don't take a lot of material, we're alright. So now that we sanded the gun down with 80 grit sandpaper, what we're going to do now, is we're actually going to take the 220 grit, we're going to fold it, tear it, and then we're going to repeat the process, but we're using a high grit sandpaper, which will make it a lot smoother. So I'm going to sign off.